Hey guys, how are you doing? Richard here with another cooking video and a very warm welcome. Now all the Christmas content that I've filmed is now done, out of the way, at least until I add some more next November or December. So it's time for a new project, and that is creating, or doing my best to create, a takeaway in your own kitchen, and hopefully much healthier than what you'd buy. So to kick it off, my favourite takeaway is the Colonel. It's the KFC. So I'm going to attempt to cook some chicken strips with their famous gravy. Now it's a bit of a mixture from quite a few recipes that I found online, and I've tweaked it a little bit, only the second time I cooked it. So what are we waiting for? Let's check out the recipe. But just before that, if you're new to the channel and you've not subscribed, please do consider subscribing. I really appreciate it, and it all helps, and support means a lot. So let's move on. So let's begin with the ingredients for your KFC spice mix. Firstly, 1 tablespoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of dried thyme, half a teaspoon of dried basil, half a teaspoon of dried oregano, half a tablespoon of coarsely ground black pepper, 1 tablespoon of mustard powder, 2 tablespoons of paprika or paprika. Smoked will do if you've not got the normal stuff. 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, and last but not least, 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Combine all that in a small bowl, give it a good old mix up. And now we'll move to the chicken marinade. About 4 chicken breasts sliced into strips, 240 millilitres or 1 cup of buttermilk. Now if you can't find buttermilk, just mix some yogurt with some normal milk. 1 cup or 130 grams of plain flour, 1/4 cup or 35 grams of polenta or cornmeal, 1 cup or 135 grams of panko breadcrumbs, plus some vegetable oil. Right guys, I've done a messy bit off camera, and that is putting my chicken strips into a Ziploc bag with the buttermilk. Now this is a homemade buttermilk that I've done, and it looks a little bit thin, but I'm going to roll with it. So yeah, the buttermilk and the chicken strips combined in a Ziploc bag. If you haven't got a Ziploc bag, just put them in a bowl, it'll be fine. Just get them as tight as you can. So the spice mix that I combined earlier, get a good healthy heat tablespoon. Being sure to save that for later, do not throw that, we need that for later on in the recipe. Zip it up. Air out of it. So what you want to do is give this a good old mix up and leave it in the fridge for a minimum of an hour, preferably 3 hours, or if you've got time, 24 hours, even better. Right, let's get on and make this delicious gravy. Firstly, I've got 1 chicken stock cube, 1 beef stock cube. I'm about to mix that with 560 millilitres or 2 1/4 cups of boiling water. I've got 4 tablespoons of flour mixed with half a teaspoon of onion granules, and I've got 60 grams or 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. It's KFC gravy time. Now I'm going to melt my butter in a medium pan. I'm cooking this ahead. I'm just going to simply cover the pan and reheat it later once my chicken strips are cooked. So let's just melt this butter, and then we'll add the flour. Right, get that butter slightly foaming, and in with the flour. What we're doing here is making a roux or a thickener, gravy thickener. So let's get busy with that. You can't leave the pan at this time. At this stage, you've got to stay with it. Mix, incorporate as well as you can. Bit splashy splash. Going to remove it off the heat a little bit. Turn that down. If it starts incorporating too quickly, stuff will burn. We don't want it to happen. And once you can see that flour, butter, you can see bits of pepper in there, it's fully mixed. And what we're doing now is cooking off, and that's cooking the flour off, so you don't get that yucky taste sometimes you get from flour when it's not being cooked properly. So stir this for about a minute on a low to medium heat. Right, almost cooked off now. The best advice I can give you to see if you've cut your flour out is taste a bit. If it's minging with flour, cook it a little bit more. Now we're going to incorporate that with half our stock mix. Just increase the heat slightly. Stir that for about 1 to 2 minutes. Now I've gone in with the rest of my liquid. I'm just going to stir this, simmer it for about 3 to 4 minutes till it's at the consistency that I like. So my gravy's now off the hob. I'm stirring it for about 2 to 3 minutes, and that's the consistency that I like. Beautiful. So I'm just going to try a bit. Delicious, absolutely delicious. Now, one little tip, if you do get some stubborn bits of flour that won't cook out of your gravy, just simply strain your gravy into a jug and then back to your pan, and that should get rid of most. So what I'm going to do, just that little bit of token heat that you get from the KFC, just a wee bit of cayenne pepper. Only a bit, not too much, or you ruin your gravy. So there we have it. Your own KFC gravy, once I've mixed the cayenne pepper in, that is. Perfect. Preheat your oven to 200 degrees Celsius or 400 degrees Fahrenheit. In a large bowl, combine the remaining spice mix, flour, panko breadcrumbs and cornmeal or polenta, and give it a good old mix up. In a baking tray, add 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 1 tablespoon of vegetable or sunflower oil, and place it in your oven until the butter is melted. Strain your marinated chicken breasts into a bowl, removing any excess buttermilk. Next, place your chicken breasts in the bowl with the flour and panko breadcrumb mix. Give it a good old mix up, being sure to press hard into the chicken strips so all the flour and breadcrumbs stick. Remove your baking tray from your oven and place your chicken strips in the baking tray, being careful not to overlap and overcrowd. Next, if you have some, spray the top of the chicken with some cooking oil or cooking spray. Then place them in your oven for 12 minutes. After 12 minutes, turn each chicken piece over individually, then give another spray with your cooking oil or cooking spray. Return to the oven for a further 8 to 10 minutes. Don't leave them for too long, otherwise they'll dry out. And here we are, the end result. Now these are never going to be as crispy as they would be if you fried them. You know, we put them in the oven and they're as crispy as they're ever going to get. They are absolutely delicious and lovely, thick, salty KFC gravy. Definitely give these a go and let me know what you think. So guys, there's my first takeaway in the bag, not literally in the takeaway bag, but on your plate. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Definitely give it a go, and if you do, leave me a comment. Now, I do have a few other takeaways planned, but if there's a certain takeaway or your favourite takeaway that you'd like to see me attempt to recreate, be sure to leave me a comment. Now, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do consider subscribing. I really appreciate it. And if you've already subscribed, thank you so much. It means the world to me. So for now, as I say, keep safe, take care, and I'll see you next time.